Have you heard about the story of the alcoholic father and his two sons? No? Let me share that with you and the 3 moral lessons that you can get out of the story. Hey everybody, my name is Odysseas Koutsoupis, or you can call me Coach Odi. We are back with another great video, and of course, show a like, a comment down below if you knew about the story. I follow and subscribe whatever platform you're seeing this through. It's always highly appreciated. So the story goes like this. The alcoholic father had all the symptoms that a typical alcoholic person has. He was angry all the time. There was a lot of tension in the house, shouting, a lot of money that were missing out of the house because he was wasting them on alcohol. So he had 2 sons, let's call them Mike and Floyd. And when they grew up, they were experiencing their dad in that situation. And Mike, when he grew up, he became an alcoholic as well. And when he was asked, how he ended up being an alcoholic too, he said, you know what, I was watching my father. So basically he had his father as his role model, and he was imitating his behaviors, so he used that as an excuse to end up as an alcoholic. So the other son, Floyd, never drank 1 sip of alcohol in his entire life, and when he was asked what happened, he said, I watched my father. So same answer, but in this case, he saw what alcohol does to you, what it does to your family, and he used that as a role model to avoid. So 2 boys, same dad, same background, but 2 different perspectives. So you need to realize that your perspective will determine your destination. So 3 moral lessons out of the story. So lesson number 1, we are all role models to someone. So we all have some sense of responsibility. Even if we are not very sociable, if we don't know a lot of people, we can be role models to our kids, to our parents, to our friends, to our co-workers. So we need to be extra careful on what we do, because a lot of times we influence people around us. So John Wooden, a great basketball coach, wrote a poem that said this: a careful man I want to be, a little fellow follows me. I don't dare to go astray, for fear he will go the self-same way. Which basically means that a lot of times there are people around us that they are not really confident, they are not really certain about their actions, so they are looking for people to follow. And if they are watching us and we do something bad, for example, let's say that you are smoking, it's not that you only hurt yourself by you smoking. You are hurting the people around you because they maybe, admire you and they see what you do and they imitate you. So, you need to have in mind that, we all have some kind of responsibility for the impact and the influence we put to others. So you stopping some negative habits, it's not only protecting yourself, but protecting the people that, they will follow your lead. Lesson number 2 is that we can learn from others. There's a great quote that I really love that says that a dumb person learns by his mistakes, a smart person learns by other people's mistakes. So don't get me wrong, of course, a lot of stuff you need to experience first to learn from your mistakes, but there are a lot of stuff that, let's say you're walking and your friend, hits his head in a wall. You don't really need to hit your head as well in the wall. You can see that it's a dead end and just avoid that. So in our case, Mike saw his father, but he didn't learn from his mistakes, and he just repeated the same path, the same cycle, and ended up like him. But Floyd was smarter, and he saw all the mistakes in his father's path, and he decided that I want to take a different path. And that's really important, because maybe you admire someone, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's someone you see online or social media. Realize that they are not perfect. So if they do something, it doesn't mean that you need to copy and paste that, because you need to have the critical thought, and you need to filter things out and realize, this is a positive influence to me, this is a negative influence to me. So you are the only one that has the responsibility to realize what you want to keep and what you want to keep out of the things that you see online or from your friends or from your family. Because a lot of times, actually watching people around us, we can learn from their mistakes, and we can actually avoid them, make new mistakes, but we can speed up the process. And lesson number 3 is that we have the power to choose. We can't always control what happens to us or around us, but we can definitely control how we respond to that. So even if we can't control the circumstances, we have total and absolute control on our reaction to them and our choices afterwards. And it's important to have that in mind because a lot of times, we block ourselves from finding a solution because we think that, this is not meant for us, because we had a bad background, because we are doomed, because life, has a curse upon us, and a lot of typical excuses that we can hear. So that's not really the truth, because again, we can't control our background, our, whatever bad happened to our life, but we can control how we can use that either for us or against us. So let's say that you're growing up in a ghetto in the US, it's not your fault, but you can control if you will end up in drugs or in a gang or, in prison or dead, or if you can do something better for you and actually leave the ghetto. So again, I don't say it's easy, but I'd say that, we can really control how our future will be shaped and our choices, if they will take us to a good direction or a bad direction. So in our story, the two sons grew up in the same place with the same circumstances, had the same bad environment with the toxicity from their father. However, they made totally different choices, they had different paths, so they had a different life. And that's really important to realize that it's on our hands how good our life could be in the future. So tag 2 of your friends down below in the comments that really need to hear that. Maybe they were locked because they thought that, the bad things that happened to their life was meant to destroy them, but maybe that's just a challenge to overcome. And again, throw a like in this video, comment me down below if you knew about the story and what you learned from that. Follow and subscribe, whatever platform seeing this through. It's always highly appreciated, and I will see you on the next one.